Hey, what's up everybody? This is Chicken Possible back with another weekly Game Pass quest guide. This is going to be a weekly quest for the game Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, another new game that's available on Game Pass. And we're going to earn 50 Microsoft Rewards points for this by getting 3 ranked wins. Let's see, this is probably going to take you about 20 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on your success, depending on who you get matched up against. Because these ranked matches are online games against other players, and unfortunately there's no way to do this with, another controller or, a second player that's on couch co-op with you or anything like that. So we are going to have to play against other players. I'll show you some strategies to help you out along the way, though. The first thing I would definitely recommend doing is going into the training mode. The training mode is, it basically doesn't really show you how to do moves or anything, but the good thing about it is you've got infinite health and your opponent has infinite health, so it's a good way to just kind of experiment, figure out what the different moves are. Like here you can see I figured out one of the power-up moves is by pressing Y and B, so if you press those together, that seems to do a fairly powerful move. Regardless of which hero you're using. So yeah, I definitely recommend hopping into training mode, try your buttons out, try to figure out, the general movement of the game and what you're capable of. You can also test out the different heroes and see which ones you like best, which ones fit well with your play style. You can always hop back out to character select by pressing the menu button to try out a different character and see if you like somebody better. So you can see I tried out Iron Man there at the beginning to see how he was, and I went through quite a few different people here trying to see who fit well, who worked well for me. So I ultimately, you'll see I ultimately end up deciding on Captain America and Hulk. I did go ahead and play one ranked match, actually 2 ranked matches before I did this training session, though. So I guess this is a case of do as I say, not as I do. So you'll see one match coming up where I did play with different characters, but yeah, definitely recommend trying out the training first and see what you like. You also get this option of choosing a Soul Stone, which, if you're familiar with Marvel's Avengers series, you'll be kind of familiar with those different stones, the Infinity Stones that you can use. But yeah, this is a good way to test out, see who you like. So. Did like Captain America fairly well. He had some strong moves, so I ultimately decided on him as one of my 2. Tested out a few other people, and ended up liking the Hulk as well, which is unusual for me because I usually tend to like characters in fighting games that have more like ranged attacks, and I kind of went with like brute force strength guys here. You can see that sort of Hulk smash thing. Again, that's the Y and the B button together. So yeah, make use of those for a powerful move from your character. When you're ready, you're finished with the training, you can go into battle and online match. I'd recommend choosing connection strength of 1 or better and all regions, so that gives you the best chance of actually finding an opponent. As I started the day today, I was having trouble finding opponents a little bit, so yeah, open it up as much as you can so that you can have a good chance of playing against somebody. So this is the very first match I did before I had gone through the training. So I'll go ahead and show you how badly I failed when I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of picked out a couple different characters based on who I thought might be good, just looking at their pictures basically. And I was thinking that Iron Man he would probably have some ranged attacks, so I went with him. And possibly Mega Man. I mean, in the Mega Man games, he has ranged attacks, but you'll see he doesn't really have too much of a ranged attack. Or at least if he did, I wasn't making good use of it anyway. Here's where you're choosing your Infinity Stone. I tried a few different ones of these. Definitely test them out in your practice session. I liked the Soul Stone. This is the one I used in my first match, and that ended up being the one that I did ultimately like the best after playing quite a few matches. The good thing about that one, when you hit the left bumper and use it, it does have a decent ranged attack. It basically just kind of zaps the person, which worked out pretty well for me. I actually used that very cheaply in one of my matches to beat the person. Anyway, I guess a win's a win, right? So this is the very first match I fought, the very first ranked match that I fought against another player, and got kind of manhandled. I think this person had played quite a few matches before and definitely knew a lot more moves than I did with my button mashing. So be aware that you're probably going to play against another player that you lose against, but that's okay. You've only got to get 3 wins ultimately. Now, one strategy that you could employ is you could, after the match is over and you've lost to somebody, you could avoid playing against that player again, right? You could avoid a rematch. If, on the other hand, you beat the opponent and you win the match, then you might try going for a rematch, because then you might be able to get a second or maybe even all 3 wins against that one opponent. So definitely use that rematch strategy if you're winning. And if you're losing, maybe don't. Maybe go back out to the main menu, try and get paired up with somebody else. Maybe the other person will not be an expert player at Marvel Ultimate. All right, so you can see Ghost Rider completely destroying me here. And this is almost the end of the battle here, because I lost all my health with my first character, and Mega Man has been KO'd now. So that's the end of the first match, where I did not win at all. So no closer to finishing closer to finishing the quest just yet. However, I did go ahead and do a rematch against this opponent, and did end up barely managing to eke out a win. So I'll show you the strategy that I ended up using there. So here's where you can choose a rematch after the battle's over. And the person can either accept it or not. And he very smartly did choose to go in a rematch against me because he beat me. So anyway, so yeah, I started using the Soul Stone at this point. So you can see it kind of whips out some of that golden Soul Stone power. That's just the left bumper, and it'll when you have the Soul Stone, it'll actually do that with whatever character you're using. So any of the characters. This is not an Iron Man specific move. So you can see, since it's working for me, I'm just doing it over and over again. This is the other move that I was using against this player to defeat them, was the kind of crouched kick. He didn't seem to be avoiding that very well, so I basically started using those 2 moves over and over again: the crouch kick and the Soul Stone. And I think that's probably generally a good strategy in online fighting games too. Is if you have something that is working against an opponent, and they don't seem to be blocking it very well, keep using that. If on the other hand you're doing something and it's not working at all, maybe drop that strategy and try something else. That's probably good advice for life, honestly. Don't do things that don't work. Do things that do work for you. All right, so just a little bit more of me smashing Chun-Li here with the Soul Stone and the low kick. You can see I just barely eking out a survival here. He seems to be afraid of my Soul Stone, so he's just backing off. And when he gets in close, I'm using the low kick to take him out. Again, this strategy may not work for everybody. It might be that an opponent you go against does block low attacks and does block that Soul Stone attack. Maybe you need to do more jump attacks against the opponent that you're fighting. Just kind of watch what's working and what's not working against the person that you're actively playing against. It's kind of, I guess, what I would call situational awareness, right? Where you're kind of reading the room, you're seeing what's happening, and responding to that. Again, she's still not blocking the Soul Stone very well, so continuing to use that strategy. I'm barely still alive, but so is she. And there we go. We got a KO with the Soul Stone whip there. I'm just going to call it the whip. I don't know what it's actually called, but... All right, so you can see we got an achievement there for winning our first ranked battle online. And here's another achievement. Use the Infinity Surge 50 times. All right, so we finished that as well. So we've got one, basically at this point, one out of our three ranked matches that we need to finish. All right, so at this point, I went back, I did the practicing, I figured out which characters I like to use the best, which ones I thought were going to work well for me. And then I came into a brand new match with a new host, a new opponent. So whoever's hosting gets to select the stage, basically just the room that you're fighting within. So we're waiting for the host to select the stage. And then the two characters that I end up using for the next two matches were the two that I talked about, Captain America and Hulk. I went with green for both of them for, I guess, keeping things matched up well. There's a Soul Stone again, so you'll see me use that again in my matches. Again, I like that range attack of the Soul Stone, so it's nice to have that in your back pocket, even if the characters that you're fighting with, like the Hulk and Captain America, don't have too strong of range attacks. That one gives you a range attack regardless of which character you're fighting with. Another thing to keep in mind is the Y and the B buttons tend to be the strong attacks for each fighter. So if you wanna be hitting faster, then you can hit the lighter attacks with X and A, and if you want to be hitting stronger and taking more damage off of your opponent, you can use the slightly slower Y and B buttons. And then when you hit those two together, your character will use their sort of power up, their easy power up combo, which for Hulk is the one where he basically grabs, like, he looks like he's grabbing a meteor out of the sky and slamming it down onto the opponent's head. So and here it is here. I think he says something like Gamma Crush or something like that. So all right, and Ryu used the Power Stone at this point, so you can see his attacks are a little bit more powerful. If you ever want to swap between your characters, like to give them a break, basically to sort of tap out for a minute, you can hit the right bumper button, and that'll swap to the other character. And then you can kind of give that person a break. Maybe, I guess that lets them regenerate a little bit of their health. It looks like Hulk's health is regenerating at the upper right kind of slowly. So that's a good way to give that person a rest and keep them, sort of save them for later on in the match. Kind of works like tag team wrestling, if you ever watched any professional wrestling, quote unquote professional wrestling. You kind of let the other person rest so that they can come back and fight again. All right, so we're about to win our second match here out of 3. This was another nail biter. Looked like she might possibly win, but I do still have 2 characters and she only has 1 at this point, so. I probably should have tagged out at this moment, but luckily I still had Captain America available. So yeah, we lost Hulk there. Still got Captain America back at half health, so he's going to go ahead and finish Morrigan off. And there we go, finished her off with the kick. All right, so at this point we've won our second of 3 matches that are needed for this. And again, think of that strategy, you know, if you beat the opponent that you're going up against, try and get a rematch if you can, because, you know, if you can win a second or a third time against that same person, that's perfect, right? That gets you to your quest, gets your quest finished quite a bit faster. So here I'm selecting a rematch by pressing A. And the opponent agreed to a rematch, so we'll just fight it out again. Trying a little bit of jumping strategy here, but it doesn't seem to be working too well against him. He's combating me quite a bit. He's also blocking when I hit my combo with Y and B, so this is not going very well. Looks like some low attacks are starting to work on him though, so we'll try a little ranged attack. You can see how I'm kind of mixing up my strategies here. So I'm just kind of whipping that soul stone repeatedly. And we had a strong attack that did work against her in the air there, so we're using the Gamma Crush again against her. You can see my opponent's also using the strategy of pressing the RB button to give his other character, Ryu, a little bit of a break from the match, since his health was getting low. I still have not used Captain America at all at this point, so he's still got full health. And then she's used her combo. Let's see if we can finish her off. All right, we've got one of the two opponents down. We've got Ryu with half health left. So we'll go ahead and finish him off here. He's not doing too well on his comeback adventure. He's starting to use some ranged attacks as well, so if you can jump over those. So my health is getting really low. I should have switched to Captain America. I think I'm probably frantically tapping the RB button, but I didn't get it in time. All right, we've got just about full health with Captain America, so Ryu's going to be hard-pressed to win this match. And here's the Y and B combo from Captain America. You can see he kind of hammers them with his shield, and we've won that battle. Getting a couple other achievements along the way. Apparently I won that match without blocking at all, so that was that was interesting. You may want to hold back on the controller, hold away from your opponent with the stick to block every once in a while, but apparently I don't do that too much, so. All right, so we'll hop back over to the Game Pass app now and just verify that we did in fact get credit for the quests, and we did. We've got 3 out of 3 ranked wins, and we'll go ahead and turn that in now for the 50 rewards points. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, please be sure to click the subscribe button on YouTube and hit that bell for notifications. You can also find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Microsoft rewards and achievement guides, and I'll see you in the next one.